At this point, I've slayed hundreds of monsters, little monsters, medium monsters, elder dragons, wyverns, flying beasts, massive tanks, all sorts of creatures, but yet my biggest weakness is those damn... Oh! Even when I'm on my guard. Oh, come on. Stop bullying me. Pigeons. Mosquitoes aside, welcome back to another Monster Hunter World Journal where I document my entire journey through Monster Hunter World and Iceborne as I seek to hunt down every monster at least once on my own. Before we get into this week's journal, this one's a bit weird because I've been away for 2 weeks due to reasons. Everything's good. I'm good. We're all back now. So I'm going to be quickly touching on a point from 2 weeks ago, which was a multiplayer stream, and how my mods really wanted to troll me. So it was a typical grind stream where I just fought the previous week's monster and tried to harvest their parts. But at the end, I let the mods pick what fight they wanted. I don't remember the name of it, but they're like, let's go in together and fight a black Diablos. And so I'm like, all right, let's do it. As a team, this should be good. So we went in, there was a black Diablos, there was a Tigrex. The whole party just kept elevating, and I was in the midst of pretty much picking up my jaw off the floor of all of these terrifying monsters that haunt my nightmares. I discovered a flaming hot pickle, which came charging, barging in, just destroying everything. I think it's a tempered devil Joe. This thing has given fear a whole new meaning. It was raging, intense, and really angry. I didn't even try to fight it. I'm just like, hell no. We're here for the black Diablos. We're just gonna go and fight that. But trying to create some distance with this thing was hard. Later, after the stream, I found out one of the mods was distracting me by probably cooking his meat. I don't know if he was actually distracting me. But anyways, one of the mods went and picked that Devil Joe and brought him to the fight to scare me. So you trolly mods, I see you. And I will have less trust in the future. But now let's get into this week's fights. And I have to say, I'm always comparing Rise to World. Let me compare World to Rise for a minute. My feint counter, I realize, is way lower in Iceborne, aka Master Rank, compared to Rise's Village Quest, which has hit double digits. I'm just like, that doesn't seem right. But then I remember I did upgrade Classy's Vigor Wasp thing so that it revives me. So my actual times that my health bar has emptied is probably much higher. But still, I earned the right to have that resurrection, so I'm not counting it as a feint when it's in use. But anyways, I've been 2 weeks. I needed to warm up, so I did a little bit of fetch questing. And then I did a warm up with a high rank Azure Rathalos, which is something I never really hunted before. And I was like, you know what? We need to hunt this. And people were like, no, don't do high rank. Don't do. I'm like, look, I've never done it before. I don't want to. I have to remember how to play this game. It's been 2 weeks. So we went into it. There was an Azure Rathalos, a Rathalos, and a Rathian all on the same level. And it was madness. If I went into that with high rank gear, or if this was a master rank quest, I would have been killed so many times because I was getting chucked around like crazy. Azure Rathalos, beautiful creature. I think it's more grabby because I was in its claws a lot. So I don't know if I was just sucking more than usual or if Azure Rathalos is a bit more of a grabby one. But man, I was seeing the whole map from above, from his talons, a lot more than I would have cared to like. Otherwise, it was a really fun fight. I'm a little bit disappointed that I did not kill the Rathalos because the first thing I thought, and this is the first time it happens to a monster, I said, this Rathalos looks big. And I am confident it was probably a gold crown Rathalos, and I didn't slay it. I was going to, but then I got carried away on the Azure Rathalos, and I ended up finishing the mission. I was like, man. And the Azure Rathalos was a silver crown, and the red Rathalos looked a lot bigger, so it was probably a gold crown. I missed my gold crown Rathalos, and I'm a little pissed about that. Next, we went to the acidic Lavanes. Was not looking forward to this because, of course, it's in the Rotten Vale. It looks poisonous, and I didn't want anything to do with it. It wasn't too bad, and I had a click moment again this week with my play style, and I was kind of getting into this last time where I'm like, okay, we really have to learn how to soften and wallbang. And I think I made like a new level up in my own skills to wallbang more consistently and to soften up. So as soon as I see a monster, it's like, all right, let's soften you all up, and now let's start beating you. And it really creates a whole different flow to the combat, but it also feels more rewarding because I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing a lot more damage now that it's softened. All right, it's not in rage, bang it into the wall. There's another 500 HP gone. So my flow was getting a little bit better, but even despite all of that, I was still doing 30-minute fights, which were quite long. Acidic Lavanes was not as hard as I was anticipating, which is good because it was still a good challenge, just dealing with the Rotten Vale's environment. But I had some kind of timing, like the timing with it was okay. I found I think it was this one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this one. I found a blind spot in its tail whip attack that if I like was far enough into the attack, it would miss me, creating an opening that I could just kind of wail on it. And I got into that a few times, and even dodging its attacks, like I don't know if something clicked where I was able to predict specifically the Acidic Lavanes' attacks, where most of the time I was able to dodge or roll in and create an opportunity, which I'm like, oh, this feels really good. I got to get better at doing this. So that went down. And then we moved to the story to Valkana, where we got the story mission of repelling Valkana from attacking Celiana, which was way better than the good old Zora fight. I liked how they handled this. Oh shit, like your hub is under attack. There's a massive Elder Dragon on the other side of that gate. You gotta distract it while we get the weapons ready, and then you get to use the weapon, and machine gun was way better to use than harpoon guns. And then you actually get to fight it with you know, hand-to-hand combat for a bit until this Dragon Razor or whatever it was called is ready, and then you can just end the mission. This was a well-paced, fun, well-executed battle. I really like what they did with this Valkana. Now at this point, this is my second encounter, and the next fight is the third encounter. I'm a little bit tired of Valkana. Like, they did a good job building up this character in Iceborne, like story pacing and all that. This is good, and I'm glad that this was the last and final one, the third battle, because I don't think I could have taken another rematch with Valkana. I'm like, all right, we have to end this now. And a good fight it was. It was quite tough. I was getting destroyed again for a while. I was struggling at staying close because she has a lot more attacks where she jumps far away, blasts you with ice. I say she, I think it's a he, whatever. They. And then there's also the one where they jump up and then they like have this like ring of frost where it keeps you away. So a lot of its attacks keep you far from it, and as a melee weapon user, I always have to close that gap only to be pushed back. So it was a lot of like go close, get pushed back, go close, get pushed back, and it was very hard to kind of stay in a zone where I could keep damaging it in a way that I wanted to. So it was a long dance. It took a while, and I went through all my potions. I went through, like, I had no healing items. And at the end, I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to rely on kind of Classy's Vigor Wasp and my own keep my distance and dodge so that I don't get hit as much. And that was very refreshing to kind of go in with that mindset instead of just bulking up on potions and powering my way through. It did add another level of appreciation for the fight, I found. So finally got it down. And then the next one, Seething Basil Goose. I was not expecting this. I did not know that there was a Seething Basil Goose. And at first I didn't even realize it was different. I'm just like, this just looks like a normal Basil Goose. What's going on? And people are like, oh, you don't, I guess you haven't fought enough of it. And I fought Basil Goose. I fought a tempered Basil Goose. And I couldn't see the difference until those little sack balls went blue. And I was like, or purple. And I'm just like, oh, these things are very different. They like, he mines the whole field and then they like crystallize and blow up. And there's one point where like he just creates like a ring of death. And if you stay in the middle, he will dive bomb that area, nuke it, or you have to like hustle to get out of there. But Basil Goose was a creature, I guess I was familiar enough. I was able to wallbang it a lot more than all my previous fights. I was able to create openings that I could actually get my combos. I've started learning not to like spam B too much because that locks me in an animation, which usually gets me knocked down very quick. So I was relying more on my Y to get a few shots in, reposition a few shots in, and then when I knew that I had a good like 3 to 5 second window, all right, B, and then the trigger to bring out my sword, my sword mode. And a little bit of that dancing, and we finally got to him. It was just a matter of time of just kind of rinse and repeat. And this battle too, I ran out of potions, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna die. But I pulled through. Now the crown achievement of the week, and of course it had to be my last fight. So I had done Black Diablos in multiplayer, but I had never done it in single player. And I was like, no, my pledge says I have to hunt everything at least once on my own. So I'm like, let's go back to Black Diablos. And I hadn't really fought a Diablo since my journal way back when I had that traumatic experience with my first Diablos. So I knew Black Diablos from multiplayer was a lot more aggressive, but you feel that heat so much more when it's one-on-one. You got no allies to pull the aggro, and it's just coming at you hard. And this thing was terrifying. And when I met it, it was, I don't know what it was doing, but it was playing with another Diablos. So there were two Diabloses that I had to deal with at first. And in my hubris, I'm like, I will kill the basic Diablos and while fending off the black one, and then I will kill the black one. Luckily, the regular Diablos ran away eventually. And I just had to deal with the black one, and that was more than enough. This one, I was good at dodging its like big whoosh horn attacks. Like I understood where I had to be when that started. It rammed me with like its bulldoze attack, and I didn't even have the time to do anything, and I just instant faint. Just get out, instant faint. I don't even know how much health it took out. It felt like my entire life bar didn't even matter at that point. It was just, you are dead. Now, prior to this fight, I did equip, and I realized after the fight how useful that skill is. I see the power of the skills now. I got something that I think gave me 90% stun resist. And one of my biggest issues in Master Rank has been getting stunned a lot because I get tossed around quite a bit. And then when I get stunned, I get hit. So I did not get stunned in Black Diablos thanks to that skill. And I think if it wasn't for that skill, I would have been dead so many times. I got a little bit smarter. I got it to like ram into the wall a few times. Oh, my strategy prior of like softening the monster and wall banging was just not working. Black Diablos would chuck me off its body any moment I got, and it wasn't even in rage. Like I was like, is it in rage? No, it's not. It's just really mad all the time. Even in its base state, it looks at you and it just throws you off. I couldn't get on its tail. I couldn't get on its side, so I couldn't soften it up. But the other side to that is I think every part of its body was giving me gold numbers. I'm like, okay, well, I don't need to soften it up. But I had to reconfigure my attacks, my fighting strategy that I had developed in the previous 3 hours of the stream. So I had to adapt on the fly, and this thing was just destroying me left and right. So I eventually got it to run into the spires where it would give me an opening. We finally got the two horns off. We got the tail off. Like I completely dismembered this thing. And finally, I had to use screamer pods at some points, and through like enough cautiousness and creating those opportunities, which are like, I think high rank like ways of playing, just being able to think that way of now is not the time to attack, just defense. And then like creating the opportunities of like, now is the time to do your combo, do it. That's what I mean. It was fun, but man, to do that after a 3.5 hour stream, being as elated in the night as it was, like I was drained. And I was just like in my bed that night, just like looking up the ceiling. I'm like, oh shit, I have so much adrenaline. This Black Diablos fight, why did I have to do it before bed? Too much adrenaline, too hard. But I beat it. So I can finally say I have beaten the Black Diablos. And I was looking forward to this fight since you guys teased it all the way back in my Diablos journal where I was like going off about that. And they're all like, wait till you meet the mate or the lady. And oh man, the lady of the night doesn't mess around. She does not mess around. Even if I'd go and fight it again, I would probably be sweating quite a bit. So those are all my thoughts of this week's stream. What am I doing next week? We're tracking down, I guess, a whole new batch of Elder Dragons or something, or new variants or something, because now we're looking for an Elder Worm, which we've got a whole new story going on. I think it's the Elder Worm just like singing and dancing, causing all sorts of trouble. So interesting how this game just keeps going. And I'm enjoying the ride. So looking forward to seeing what else this game is going to toss at me, because I really don't know what's coming up next. But we'll find out next week, and I'll see you then. So until then, keep it classy.